Good day, everyone. Napoleon. Let's talk about Tesla. Tesla's been on a tear for the past 6 months. Today is January the 22nd, 2020. Let's crack open the charts to see if we can see something that I guess the bears, people who are openly bearish on this instrument obviously didn't see. Or let's see if we can see some sort of perhaps a turnaround here and around the corner in the short term. Or again, if we need to jump on the bandwagon to see if we can catch this momentum that's obviously here in this instrument. So if you're currently invested in Tesla, whether you're long or you're thinking of actually betting against Tesla at the current levels, be sure to stick around to the end as we go over this and more. So without further ado, let's dive into the charts here, shall we? Okay, so this will be like a semi-macro overlook of Tesla. We're going to start at the lower time frames. We're here on the TradingView platform, but I wanted to start at the higher time frames because if you're familiar with the channel, I always kind of walk through the placement of my lines just to legitimize the placements have been, placed at a reasonable place. So let's start with that. We have two ascending lines here. The yellow line is going to act as support, and if you notice here, these are 3-month candles. Found support there. Notice there's never really been a candle's body to close below this yellow ascending line of support. So hopefully you can agree and say, okay, it's a pretty good placement there on your line there. And the same thing with the red ascending line of resistance. Never had a close 3-month candle above this line. Until, of course, as of recent, there's speculatively will be a 3-month candle to close above this line. But this candle actually doesn't close until April the 1st, 2020. So we just got to wait on that and see what happens. So hopefully you can all agree and say, okay, pretty good. You have some pretty good placements on your yellow ascending line of support and your red ascending line of resistance. So we can move on here to the next part of this. All right, and the last but not least, before we get to the lower time frames, let's just verify that this green level of support also is legitimate. Notice back in January 2015, there's actually the bears with the selling pressure tried to push the price below this line. And of course, the 3 months there afterwards, there was a bullish engulfing candle to meet the next candle here. And that happened in April 2015. So basically, there was one candle to close below this line. And then notice here, there was also another candle's body, that is, on the 3-month to close below this green line. And that was back in July 2016. The price level is actually, the green line is at about $208-ish. So notice those 2 times, that was the only 2 times that that a 3-month candle was successfully able to close below this line. As of recently, we had a wick below this line. But again, I just want to verify that we can all agree and we can say, okay, Mr. Napoleon, yes, you got some pretty reasonably placed lines there on the charts. Let's move forward. Okay, so let's pull up the smaller time frames and start with the daily. All right, whoa, right off the bat, I'm seeing a gap there. Gaps are never good. The gap is located in between 255 up to 297. And some of you may ask, okay, what's the significance of a gap? Typically, they eventually get filled. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee, but I mean, at some point in the future, they typically get filled from a daily perspective, at least. And as far as my knowledge in the markets. Okay, so from a daily perspective, looks like the stochastic RSI has been kind of dipping down to the lower regions to kind of recharge, to gather up some more momentum to push to the upside. So the current level on the stochastic RSI, on the blue line is what I pay attention to, is at about 27. So that's that. Okay, so the RSI has been hanging out in the upper regions for quite some time. With respect to this brief dip down in between November the 21st up to December the 13th, I can probably assure you that was a recharge. This little dip down here. Let's go to the price and see. Yeah, that was basically a recharge. Notice the price kind of came down, had a little small correction. Let's see if we can measure that. Had a retracement of about 9-10%, and then of course only to continue the momentum to the upside and make higher highs. So To me, the trend is your friend, right, until the end. So the trajectory is still to the upside from a daily perspective with respect to the RSI being in the higher regions. I'm going to say that the daily still has potentially more momentum to the upside as long as it can stay above. Again, from a daily perspective, $548. Now, take this with a grain of salt. Again, guys, this isn't financial information, first of all. This is all for educational purposes. But my thesis on the daily is typically doesn't hold really that much relevance because I kind of take it from a 3 days perspective or higher to make my market entry and exit decisions. So just bear that in mind. No pun intended. Okay. So let's go to the 3 day. I mean, it's not bearish right now. It's bullish until we see some sort of significant selling pressure in the market. Let's continue. Okay. So from a 3 months perspective, looks like the stochastic RSI definitely can use a breather. We see some sort of sagging off or like a cupature area of resistance here on the stochastics. Looks like it's kind of trying to get weak there, if you notice that. So it's you can definitely use a recharge, right? It's above 80, the blue line, and it's actually pointed below the red line, so that's a potentially bearish case scenario if this line continues to go to the downside here on the stochastic RSI. So yeah, that's potentially I guess a recharge case scenario. The RSI is still in the upper regions. Wow, that's pretty high. We're definitely in overbought conditions, 82 on the 3 day here. So I would say that from a 3 days perspective, let's go to the previous purchasing interest in the market. As long as the candles, the bodies of the candles from a 3 days perspective close above the, the $541 level, the bullish momentum is still going to be to the upside. And notice as we go up in the time frames, I think the support levels go lower. So that's what I'm going to say. The trend is still your friend. The momentum is still to the upside until we can see some sort of significant selling pressure into the market, which hasn't yet to show. Again, this is my opinion. Okay. All right. I don't like this candle here right off the bat. This is a bearish candle. But even if you see bearish candles enter the market, you should never just kind of place your bets against the market, whether it's bullish or, well, in this case, it's bearish. You should never just place your bets against a bearish candle that comes in the markets. You always want to see what happens to the price after that candle comes in. So it's important to be patient in the markets and wait. Okay, let's continue. Stochastics RSI, wow, that's pretty high. I consider this a scrape above the ceiling, and what I do is, so to speak, right, scrape at this ceiling. Okay, when I see this scrape at the ceiling, so to speak, on the weekly, especially weekly, I do this in the price on the actual price level. I take the corresponding level where it started the scraping, so to speak, and then I just put a line right here. Okay, and when I do that, that basically, to me, this is an indication that the market participants who entered this purchasing candle in the market in about January the 6th, 2020, as long as this level is respected, and that level is currently at about 477. You see it's gone down again. As long as there is at least a spike down and then a quick rejection to this level, let me see if I could just kind of make a quick candle to show you, see how that would look. Something like this. Yeah, so basically if you see like some sort of candle come in to showing some sort of buying interest at this level and it wicks down, to me that's an indication that the market participants in the level here are respecting or protecting this area rather at $477. Okay. That's just how I look at charts, guys. I could be completely wrong about that. But currently, my opinion, as long as the price stays above the 477 all the way up to $510 level, the bullish momentum will still be to the upside. With respect to this high stochastic RSI, that's not good, man. It's pretty high. I'm not going to say it's not good, but it could use at least a breather to continue the momentum, my opinion. Okay. The RSI is currently at about 86 on a weekly. So let's continue up the time frame here. Let's go to the monthly. Okay, so it's the same thing, guys. The bullish momentum still in the market. Notice the stochastic RSI is pointed straight in the air. It is above 80, and typically when it's above 80, that means, you know, it could use some sort of retracement or sideways movement to build up more momentum. But again, the higher time frames rule, so we still have the 3-month that we need to pull up. So the stochastic RSI is pointed to the upside. The actual RSI is in the higher regions, currently at about 73. One thing that I'll kind of speculate here briefly and say is one thing I don't want to see. If you're familiar with support and resistance, guys, if you master support and resistance, you can never go wrong in understanding and analyzing charts, right? So what I'm noticing right off the bat is what I do not want to see is the previous resistance from a monthly perspective was here at about the current level, which at about 73-ish. If we get something like this to enter the market, again, just speculation, guys, you know, something like that, that to me would be an indication of a double top in the RSI. And let's see, where's the current price? And notice the actual price has gone significantly higher. So let's just speculate and say that, you know, we could potentially be topping out here, right? So you'll notice that this is a double top on the RSI. And on the actual price, there was a higher high. So to me, on something like this, especially if the price starts to wick above this level at about 568-ish, and it's unable to close a monthly candle's body above this level, that would be an indication that the next price level from a retracement standpoint, if it cannot close a fully candle's monthly body above 568, would be this level right here to pretty much find support at the previous resistance level, which would be at approximately $388. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. It's all speculation. The momentum is clearly still to the upside until some significant pressure, selling pressure that is, enters the market. So again, yeah, pure speculation there, guys. So from a 1 month's perspective, the momentum is still clearly to the upside as long as, let's see, I guess at this point I can say that as long as the price respects the $489 level, which is where the ascending level of resistance has been keeping the price down ever since February 2014. So I'd like to see the price at least kind of hang around this area if there's going to be some sort of consolidation, perhaps even build some sort of bullish flag or a, you know, ascending flag, right? Some sort of something like that. Yeah, but that has yet to be seen, guys. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So the momentum is still to the upside. I think it's important for us to pay attention to see how this candle closes. But more importantly, the 3-month, which is, let's go ahead and pull that up now, close things out. Okay, so from a 3 months perspective, yeah, we still have until April the 1st, 2020. So we got a couple months before this candle closes. We just have to be patient. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to get into the market at these levels. One bullish thing that I can point out here in closing is, again, support and resistance. The previous level that the 3-month candles was unable to successfully close a purchasing pressures candle above was at about 360. So this is, I guess this is pretty much a momentum play. If you were to see this and notice that the 3-month actually closed a candle's body above this level, you can pretty much enter the market as a breakout play, right? So, but I truly feel as if this is a very exponential run. Remember, guys, the price came all the way from the support level, and it's already broken through the previous resistance level from a candlestick's perspective, and it's also broken through the previous resistance from a ascending line of resistance levels perspective. So I would pretty much say this is pretty exponential. If this is going to continue, it really has to continue. And in other words, the price has to go significantly higher and never return below this ascending level of resistance again, my opinion, in order to basically, justify the recent price movements on / action here in the markets. So in other words, that would basically look something like this. Let's see, you pretty much stay above this line and just, do something like this, kind of come down and just kind of stay above this line, right? And just continue the momentum to the upside, never to breach below this red ascending level of resistance again. In order, again, in my opinion, in order to keep the momentum to the upside, because it's a very exponential move, my opinion. So we just have to wait and see how these things play out. So in closing, I'm going to say that Tesla is still bullish. Tesla still has bullish potential. Let me be very clear. Tesla still has more bullish potential in the markets. And also noticing that, again, previous resistance turns into support when it's breached above. And notice here on the stochastic RSI, the blue line is leading the red line. So the momentum still has room to the upside, at least until it comes in contact with this previous level of resistance. So I'm going to say Tesla's still bullish. I wouldn't be surprised if I see Tesla at least test or breach above $600 somewhere here in the short term. I don't think it's going to take longer than a month or two for Tesla to at least test or breach above $600. So that's my thesis, guys. I mean, I could be totally wrong about this, but from a charts perspective, everything is still leaning to the upside. It still looks like it has more momentum to the upside. If there is a retracement, whether that be a severe retracement or I guess it would be pretty severe when I put my line, because I'm going to speculate and say, well, I guess it's 35%. So if there's going to be a retracement here in the market, the level that I would be looking for here in the short to midterm would be this level, which would be at approximately $370. So, and of course, that would just pretty much verify that as support and potentially even do something like this, kind of wait until this line, maybe even breach below and just kind of retest this upper ascending level of potential resistance at this point, because we don't know if this is the official break above that level yet. So again, just got to wait and see, guys. I'm patient. I'm not making any moves. I obviously missed a move down here at the support line. So I'm pretty much going to say that Tesla still has more bullish potential to the upside, a minimum of respectively $600 or higher here within a month or two in the short term. So that's my thesis, guys. I may be totally wrong about this. Please leave your comments down below if you agree with what I'm saying. If you totally disagree with what I'm saying, that's fine as well. Please leave those comments down. I'm always open to constructive criticism as I further my education and understanding in the traditional and alternative markets. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, guys, if you haven't already. So until next time, it's Napoleon Macro. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here, guys. So I'll check with you guys on another video. Good day.